Those tiny specks drifting across your vision when you look at a bright sky or white wall aren't your imagination. You've probably tried to focus on them, only to watch them dart away like little shadows playing hide and seek. If you've wondered what these mysterious floating shapes are, and whether you should be concerned, you're about to get answers that could protect your vision. Let's start by uncovering what you're actually seeing, because it's not what most people think. Here's something that might surprise you. When you see those floating shapes, you're not actually looking at tiny particles in your eye. Instead, you're seeing their shadows. Think of it like this. Imagine holding a small object between a flashlight and a white wall. The shadow on the wall is what you notice, not the object itself. Your eye works the same way. Inside your eyeball, there's a clear, gel-like substance called the vitreous that fills the space between your lens and the back of your eye. Sometimes, tiny bits of protein or cellular debris get suspended in this gel. When light enters your eye, these particles cast shadows on your retina, that light-sensitive layer at the back of your eye that processes what you see. The fascinating part is that the closer these particles drift to your retina, the bigger and clearer their shadows appear. That's why some floaters look large and obvious, while others are barely noticeable. You'll see them most clearly against bright plain backgrounds like a clear blue sky or a white computer screen, because that's when the contrast between the shadow and the background is strongest. This shadow effect also explains why floaters seem to dart away when you try to look directly at them. As your eye moves to focus on the floater, the gel inside shifts, causing the particle to move and its shadow to jump to a different spot. Now that you understand what you're seeing, let's explore why your eyes create these floaters in the first place. The creation of floaters is actually a completely natural process that happens to almost everyone, but the timing varies from person to person. As you age, that clear gel inside your eye, the vitreous, starts going through some significant changes. Think of the vitreous gel like a clear jello that's been sitting out for a while. Over time, it begins to break down through a process called syneresis. During this process, the water content starts separating from the solid parts of the gel, creating little pockets of fluid. Meanwhile, the structural proteins called collagen begin clumping together, forming stringy, web-like or blob-shaped particles. These clumped proteins are what cast those shadows you see as floaters. Some look like tiny dots, others like squiggly lines, cobwebs, or even rings. The shape depends on how the proteins have clumped together. This entire process is part of something called posterior vitreous detachment, or PVD for short. During PVD, the vitreous gel gradually shrinks and pulls away from the back wall of your eye. This happens to most people over age 50, and while it sounds scary, it's usually completely harmless. Here's the good news. Your brain is incredibly adaptable. Most people find that after a few weeks or months, their brain learns to filter out these floaters. You'll still have them, but you'll notice them much less because your brain has decided they're not important enough to pay attention to. But sometimes this natural pulling process creates another phenomenon you might have experienced. Flashes of light. Those brief flashes of light you sometimes see, especially in your peripheral vision, aren't related to migraines or external light sources. They're actually your eye's way of responding to physical changes happening inside. Remember that shrinking vitreous gel we just talked about? As it contracts and pulls away from your retina, it sometimes tugs on the retinal tissue. Your retina is designed to respond to light, but it can't tell the difference between actual light and mechanical stimulation. So when the vitreous pulls on it, your retina sends the same signal to your brain that it would if you'd seen a brief flash of light. These flashes, called photopsia, typically appear as quick streaks or arcs of light, usually in your side vision. You might notice them more when you move your eyes quickly or when you're in a darker environment. They can last for just a split second or occasionally persist for several minutes. The key thing to understand is that these flashes are your eye's natural response to the tugging sensation. In most cases, they're simply part of the normal aging process and will eventually decrease as your vitreous finishes detaching and the pulling stops. However, This brings us to an important point about prevention and protection. While you can't stop the natural aging process, there are steps you can take to support your eye health and potentially reduce your risk of complications. While you can't prevent the natural aging process, recent research has revealed some encouraging news about how your diet and lifestyle choices can influence your floater experience and overall eye health. Scientists have discovered that certain micronutrients may help reduce the severity and number of floaters. Studies show that L-lysine, an amino acid found in fish, chicken, and dairy products, along with vitamin C and zinc, can support the health of your vitreous gel. L-lysine in particular helps maintain the structural integrity of collagen, potentially slowing down the clumping process that creates floaters. Your daily food choices matter more than you might think. Dark, leafy greens like spinach and kale are packed with lutein and zeaxanthin, powerful antioxidants that protect your retina from damage. Citrus fruits provide vitamin C, which supports the blood vessels in your eyes. Fatty fish like salmon and mackerel contain omega-3 fatty acids that help reduce inflammation throughout your body, including your eyes. But nutrition is just part of the story. Protecting your eyes from UV radiation is crucial. Those sunglasses aren't just a fashion statement, they're preventing cumulative damage that could accelerate eye aging. Look for sunglasses that block 100% of UVA and UVB rays. Regular exercise improves blood circulation to your eyes, while proper hydration helps maintain the right consistency of your vitreous gel. Managing stress through techniques like meditation or yoga can also help, since chronic stress contributes to inflammation that may worsen floaters. One more important lifestyle factor: if you smoke, consider quitting. Smoking restricts blood flow to your eyes and increases inflammation, both of which can accelerate the aging process that leads to floaters. Now, while prevention is important, there's something even more critical you need to know about when floaters and flashes signal a medical emergency. While we've established that most floaters and flashes are harmless signs of normal aging, there are specific warning signs that demand immediate medical attention. Missing these signals could literally cost you your sight. The first major red flag is a sudden shower of new floaters, especially if they appear as tiny black dots that look like pepper flakes or soot. This could indicate that pigment cells or even blood cells have been released from a retinal tear. Unlike the gradual appearance of normal aging floaters, these emergency floaters appear suddenly and in large numbers. The second critical warning sign is seeing a shadow or curtain moving across part of your vision. This isn't a subtle floater, it's a distinct dark area that blocks your sight in a specific region. This shadow indicates that part of your retina may have already detached from the underlying tissue, causing actual vision loss in that area. Here's what's happening in these emergency situations. Remember that tugging we talked about earlier? Sometimes, instead of just causing harmless flashes, that pulling force can actually tear the retina. Once there's a tear, fluid from the vitreous can seep through and get behind the retina, causing it to lift away from the tissue underneath. This is called retinal detachment, and it's a sight-threatening emergency that requires immediate surgical intervention. Certain factors put you at higher risk for these complications. If you're very nearsighted, your eyeball is typically longer from front to back, which stretches and thins your retina, making it more vulnerable to tears. If you've had eye surgery, experienced eye trauma, have diabetes, or have a family history of retinal problems, you're also at increased risk. The key message here is timing. If you experience either of these warning signs, a sudden shower of new floaters, or a shadow across your vision, don't wait to see if it gets better. Contact an eye care professional immediately, or go to an emergency room. With retinal detachment, hours can make the difference between saving and losing your sight. So let's wrap up everything we've covered and give you a clear action plan. Let's bring this all together with what you need to remember and act on. Eye floaters and flashes are usually just signs that your eyes are aging normally. The shadows you see are cast by natural changes in the gel inside your eye, and while they can be annoying at first, your brain typically learns to filter them out over time. While you can't stop the natural aging process, you do have power over your eye health. Support your eyes with nutrients like L-lysine, vitamin C, and zinc through foods like fish, leafy greens, and citrus fruits. Protect yourself from UV damage with quality sunglasses, stay hydrated, exercise regularly, and manage your stress levels. Most importantly, know the difference between normal floaters and medical emergencies. A sudden shower of new floaters that look like pepper flakes or a shadow moving across your vision means you need immediate medical attention. Don't wait. If this video helped you understand what's happening in your eyes and how to protect them, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe for more eye health insights that could save your vision. I've put together a complete list of eye-healthy foods and nutrients in the description below, so check that out after this video. And remember, if you're experiencing any of those warning signs we discussed, don't delay. Contact an eye care professional right away. Next week, we're diving into something that affects almost everyone who works on computers. The surprising connection between screen time and dry eyes, plus simple exercises you can do right at your desk to keep your eyes comfortable all day long. You won't want to miss that one, so make sure you're subscribed and hit the notification bell. Thanks for taking care of your eye health, and I'll see you in the next video.